Hey, what's up guys, it's Luigi here, and Minecraft 1.19 is just around the corner. And like every update, Mojang is adding a bunch of new features, so today we're going to go over everything new in the Minecraft Wilds update. Our first place on this adventure is into the additions of blocks. These are all the blocks that Minecraft is adding in the Minecraft Wilds update. The first block on our list is the frog light. The frog light is dropped when small magma cubes are eaten by frogs. There are three variants of this block. There's purple, green, and yellow. The variant that is dropped depends on the frog that eats it. A purple frog light is dropped if a warm or a white frog eats the magma cube. A green frog light is dropped if a cold or a green frog eats a magma cube. And a yellow frog light is dropped if the temperate frog eats a magma cube. All frog lights emit a light level of 15, which is equal to the light of a glowstone block. Next up on our list is the frog spawn. The frog spawn goes on top of water and cannot be stood on. It's a non-solid block. It disappears if the water underneath it is removed. You cannot obtain this in survival, and it does not drop by breaking even with silk touch. This block is created after frogs are bred with slime balls, and it hatches tadpoles after some time. What type of tadpole it spawns depends on the biome where the block is placed. Next up on our list is the new type of log added in this version. This is the mangrove log. The mangrove log will be part of the mangrove trees, which are located in mangrove swamps. They can be crafted into planks and wood just like usual. They also have a striped variant as well, which leads us directly into our next block, the mangrove planks. These are crafted from mangrove logs, and they can be used to craft all the normal things you would expect wooden planks to be able to craft. The mangrove wood is all red tinted, so it does give us some more colors to work with in the wood areas. And the way you grow these trees is from the other new block, the mangrove propagule. These grow underneath mangrove leaves. They can be grown by applying bone meal to mangrove leaves, and they grow from the exposed bottom of it. Propagules can also grow spontaneously from leaves, but only if they are naturally generated. These saplings are unique because they can both be planted on land and underwater. They can be placed in flower pots, bees can pollinate them, and bees follow players holding them and can even be bred with them. Next up on our block list, we are still talking about the mangrove swamp here. We have mangrove roots. They are a see-through decorative block, kind of like leaves, but they can be waterlogged. We also have the mangrove wood, which is just the mangrove log but turned into the wood variant, so it's on all sides. And what seems to be a popular block for this update is mud. Mud can be found in the mangrove swamp biomes. It can be created using a water bottle directly or through a dispenser on dirt, coarse dirt, and rooted dirt. The cool thing from this block is it can be converted into clay. By placing mud above a block which has a pointed dripstone underneath, the dripstone dries it out, producing a clay block. This is the only way to get renewable clay in Bedrock Edition. When you walk on mud, you do sink down a bit into the ground, kind of like soul sand but without the slowdown. An Enderman can grab and interact with this block as well. Staying on the topic of mud, but moving on to a new block, is the mud bricks block. They can be crafted from 4 packed mud and can be crafted into mud brick slabs, stairs, and walls using a crafting table or a stone cutter. We also have muddy mangrove roots. They can be found in the mangrove swamp biomes. They can be crafted from 1 mud and 1 mangrove root. We also have packed mud, which I just talked about a second ago. Packed mud can be crafted from 1 mud and 1 wheat, and it's just used for making mud bricks. And that will sum it up for all the blocks in the mangrove swamp area. The next blocks we're going to talk about are for the ancient cities. First up on the list, and arguably the coolest block of the update, is the reinforced deep slate. It's a new block only found in ancient cities, shaped as a large frame. It's unobtainable in survival mode. It is not craftable. It can be broken, but it won't drop anything, even with silk touch. It's completely blast resistant. It's immune to withers and ender dragons, and it takes an incredibly long amount of time to mine. It takes 82.5 seconds, which is 9 times longer than obsidian with the diamond pickaxe. It also cannot be moved with pistons. The next block on the list is the skulk block. This generates in the deep dark biome. It has an animated texture, and it drops only experience when broken without silk touch. It activates nearby skulk sensors and shriekers even when wool is placed on it. Wardens may emerge from the skulk blocks. These skulk blocks grow when a mob dies near a skulk catalyst, which brings us right up to the next block, the skulk catalyst. These also generate in the deep dark biome. They emit soul particles after a mob dies within 8 blocks, and it grows a bit of these skulk related blocks. It spreads skulk blocks to wherever a nearby mob dies. The amount it spreads depends on the amount of experience the mob drops upon death. This block must be broken with silk touch, if not it'll only drop experience. It emits a light level of 6, and it also does a little blooming effect when activated. Next up is the Skulk Shrieker. It also generates in the deep dark biome. It has 2 soul-shaped patterns in the center of the block. It has the ability to shriek, emitting a ring-like sonic particles. It's activated by a Skulk sensor, redstone signal, or a player stepping. Skulk Shriekers summon wardens only if there isn't one within 48 blocks. When this block is activated, it gives players the darkness effect, and if this block is activated 3 times, a warden is summoned from the ground. However, once it's summoned once, it only requires 1 attempt for the warden to be summoned a second time. And the last new block added in the Minecraft Wilds update is the Skulk Vein. This also generates in the deep dark biome. It generates in a layer on top of blocks similar to snow. It can be placed in all directions, like glow lichen. It must be broken with silk touch. Some parts are transparent, allowing the player to see the block on top of it. Alright, and next up on our list are all the new items for the Minecraft Wilds update. I will go ahead and make this quick, there's only a few of them, so let's go ahead and go over these. First up on the items list is the Bucket of Tadpole. This is kind of self-explanatory, but essentially, this is just a bucket that when full of water, you can click a tadpole, puts the tadpole in kind of like an axolotl, and now you have a tadpole in a bucket. We also have something called Disc Fragment. It is a fragment of the music disc number 5, which can be crafted into discs using this recipe. They can only be obtained from chests in the ancient cities. They are extremely rare and very hard to obtain. We also have something called the Echo Shard. These can only be found in loot chests in the ancient cities, and they can be used to craft recovery compasses. Moving right along, we have something called the Goat Horn. The Goat Horn drops when a goat rams either coal ore, copper ore, emerald ore, iron ore, any sort of log, packed ice, or stone. When the goat hits this, it can play a large sound that can be heard from very far away, with a cooldown of 7 seconds between each use. It has 8 different variants. Each variant has its own unique sound, and it seems to be a way for players to be able to call to one another from very far away. We also have the Mangrove Boat. This is just like a normal boat, but this one is crafted with mangrove planks, and it has the same colors as mangrove trees. We also have the new music disc number 5. This is obtained by restoring it from the fragmented state with the crafting recipe I showed you earlier, and it's very similar to track 11 where it's very creepy and poppy, and at some point I definitely want to break down the similarities in these tracks and kind of put them together and see if there's any interesting lore aspects. Alright, and last but certainly not least is the Recovery Compass. It's a new type of compass which can be used to point to the last place a player died. It can be crafted with a compass surrounded by 8 different echo shards. I am very bad at Minecraft and tend to die pretty often, so being able to find where all my items dropped is kind of important for me. With that, we also have the obvious spawn eggs. They added the Allay, the Frog, the Tadpole, and the Warden spawn eggs. These are kind of self-explanatory, but they are now in the 1.19 update because obviously we need to be able to spawn these mobs somehow with an egg. Alright, and now we are at the mobs. There are a lot of cool mobs in the Minecraft 1.19 update, so let's go ahead and just break them all down one by one and see what new creatures will be joining us in our adventure. First up is the Allay. It was voted to be in the update during the Minecraft Live in 2021. The purpose of the Allay is to find items for you, meaning it can find drop blocks or items for a player, collecting the same thing you give it. So the way the Allay works is you find an Allay, and these can be found in woodland mansions or outside of pillager towers, and you give the Allay an item. You just click it and it gives the item to the Allay and they'll hold it in their hand. Now the Allay will follow you up to 64 blocks away, and if it finds a similar item, so if I give it a bone and then I kill a skeleton, and it finds that bone dropped from the skeleton sitting on the ground, it'll actually pick up the extra bones and throw them at me and give them to me. However, they do have another mechanic where they can drop items at note blocks rather than the players. So if you play a note block near them, their note will become the favorite note, and they will drop the items off at that note block for the next 30 seconds. If you have given an Allay an item, you actually cannot hurt them. They are immune from damage from you while they are holding an item. If you click them with an empty hand while they're holding an item, you will take the item from them, and then at that point you can go ahead and hurt them if you were some sort of monster. They also have 10 hearts or 20 health points and have a natural regeneration of about a heart per second. The next mob up is the tadpole. They grow up into a frog after 20 minutes, which can be sped up if you feed them slime balls. The type of frog they grow up to does actually depend on what temperature the biome it grows up is. They can be held in a water bucket, as we explained earlier with the item. They jump around like a fish when on land, and they do eventually die. They have a total of 3 hearts or 6 health points. The next mob we come up to here is the frog. They come in 3 different variants. The 3 variants being temperate, warm, and cold. The temperate variant is orange, the warm variant is white, and the cold variant is green. They can croak, swim, and jump and slowly walk on land. They can jump over 5 blocks, they are faster in water than they are on land, and they prefer to jump to a lily pad and a big drip leaf. They eat small slimes, dropping slime balls, and they eat small magma cubes, dropping frog lights. They can be tempted and bred using slime balls, and they lay eggs on the water after mating. They have a total of 10 health points or 5 hearts. Next up, the Warden. Most of you probably have already heard about him, however, I am going to break him down in detail right now. So if you need to know what to expect, you are in the right place. Let's start with the most basic things with the Warden. The Warden is Minecraft's first fully blind mob. The bats are not blind, they can see in both real life and in game. Because of this, that's why it stumbles. And he also has a sense of smell, meaning it can detect and pathfind towards the general location of the players it's looking for. When it does this, it does a little cute smelling animation as well. And he does have a sense of vibration. This is his main way that he gets around. So when sensing movement, it can pathfind towards the source of the movement. It'll follow mobs, it'll follow players, anything that makes vibration. So if the player is even just walking around, it will detect you and it will come for you. When it detects a vibration, the growths on its head rattle and they light up, similar to the skulk sensor. It seems to follow the same rules of the skulk sensor when detecting vibrations. If any projectile lands near it, the Warden will inspect the location where it landed. This is due to the projectile creating vibrations where it lands. This is kind of the way to distract the Warden. The Warden will not detect a sneaking player. It can detect players or mobs that have the invisibility effect, because again, it's not based off eyesight, it's all about vibration with this mob. It becomes more suspicious of a player or mob as it detects its location more through vibrations. So if you're making a lot of sound, he's starting to notice a lot more than usual. When it finally suspects you enough, he will hone in and identify your exact location, which will cause it to get agitated, and it will pathfind directly towards you regardless of outside distractions, meaning it will ignore all arrows, all everything, and it is coming for you. As you may have guessed, this mob only spawns in the deep dark, and after the Skulk Shriekers detect you 3 times, he will emerge from the ground. He will dig back down after 60 seconds if it doesn't detect anything. However, you can give a name tag to a Warden and he will not go back underground. Similar to how if you put a name tag on a mob, it won't despawn. If you put a name tag on a Warden, he just lives above ground now. Now that's all great and good and he will come directly after you, but why do I care? Why is this scary? Well, I'm glad you asked, because this mob is extremely difficult. It's intended to be avoided and fled from. It is not going to be the, oh, let me go kill this little skeleton, it'll be fun. This thing will kill you. It has a total of 500 health points or 250 hearts, and it does 15 hearts or 30 health points of damage on normal difficulty, bringing a player wearing full netherite armor from full health to down to just 7 health points, which is 3.5 hearts. Wardens also disable shields when they hit the player with their fists, and they are just as fast as a walking player. They have more health than the Wither. The Warden does not count towards any of the kill mobs advancements, so if you want one of the advancements like Monster Hunter, and you don't need to kill it for monsters hunted due to its role. The Warden's chest has a glowing core that appears to brighten and dim in tandem with the darkness effect. The core creates a low throbbing heartbeat as it pulses, The sound and animation speeds up rapidly as the warden gets more suspicious and or closer to you. It is about 3.5 blocks tall, making it one of the tallest mobs in the game, even taller than an entire iron golem, and equal to the height of an enderman. Wardens have a very long melee reach, being able to hit the player when on top of a 4-block pillar. You heard that right, you could go 4 blocks in the air and he will still knock you down. He can charge a range attack when the player is building high or hiding behind walls. What he'll do is his rib cage will open, he will shriek a sonically charged range attack that can penetrate walls, bypass shields, and armor, including the protection enchant, meaning this thing just comes directly at you no matter where you are. The range attack deals 10 damage, meaning 5 hearts in normal, and it can hit at a horizontal distance of 15 blocks away. The range attack can only hit one person at a time. Lava and knockback do nothing to it, and it doesn't slow down in lava. It drops a skulk catalyst upon death. Now I don't know if you just heard that, but that means this mob is not playing around. Moving away from these scary wardens, there is still more to talk about with this update though. And the next thing we have to talk about is the non-mob entities. There is something new added that I've been waiting for in Minecraft for a very long time. This is the boat with a chest. It's similar to minecart with a chest, but you just craft a boat with a chest and it can store items. I can't believe this wasn't in the game yet, but I'm very, very, very excited to have this feature finally in Minecraft. Alright, and now that we understand the mobs in the new version of Minecraft, we need to understand where they are going to be. Let's talk about the Minecraft world generation for the Minecraft Wilds update. This here is the Deep Dark. It is a new biome at the deepest parts of the world. It can generate between y equals -1 and y equals -64, and it seems to generate under mountains or continental areas. It can currently extend above the deep slate layer up to y33, but you will never find it above y33. The Deep Dark is home to the ancient cities that can generate there. They are also the place where the wardens can spawn. How you can know you found the Deep Dark biome is you will see a bunch of skulk laying around. Except spawners, no mobs can spawn here besides for the warden. And now what you see here is the ancient cities. These cities spawn within the Deep Dark biome. They are extremely large and they are always generated at y equals -52. They are made of all the deep slate variants, basalt and its variants, and some gray wool. They contain soul sand, soul fire, and soul lanterns, as well as candles and skeleton skulls. There's also this huge, mysterious frame that currently does nothing. It is made of reinforced deep slate. However, it is highly speculated this will be a thing in maybe the 1.20 update or something farther in the future. Hidden along these ancient cities are various chests with a bunch of unique loot. This includes echo shards, disc fragments, and the new Swift Sneak enchantment. There are a bunch of other valuables inside of this chest as well. There's things like the music discs, potions of regeneration, enchanted books, iron and diamond leggings, and a bunch of other stuff, including god apples. This is significant because if any chest generates inside that large frame, it is guaranteed to have one golden apple. Also hidden under this frame is a bunch of different little redstone contraptions. These redstone mechanisms, they're kind of made to teach new players on how to use all the different parts of redstone. So there will be a bunch of different kinds of puzzles for players to mess around with and figure out just to get a concept of how redstone works. Going up to surface level here, we have the mangrove swamp. This is a new swamp biome with a teal water that often generates in warmer clusters, usually next to jungles and deserts. The swamp contains our new type of tree we talked about, the mangrove trees. They naturally spawn warm frogs and slimes, but there are no sheep, cows, pigs, or chickens, so it's just those mobs. It does not generate witch huts either. The floor of the swamp is covered in a layer of mud that goes all the way from the surface down to stone. Tropical fish can spawn in the water here, and the water fog color palette is more of a green rather than a yellow like a normal swamp. Inside these mangrove swamps are the mangrove trees. These are the tree types we've talked about earlier. They include the mangrove log and the mangrove leaves. They have a unique shape with the root system of mangrove leaves leading out and kind of making like a forking position from the trunk. Their saplings also hang down from the leaves of the tree, and some moss carpet can generate at the top of some of the roots. Alright, and that is more of the significant changes, so let's move on to more of the miscellaneous changes, the things that are more one-off, but they're all pretty significant and important. The first one being enchanting. Mojang has added the Swift Sneak enchantment. This enchantment can only be found in the chest of the ancient cities. It cannot be obtained by fishing, enchanting, or other loot chests. There's a total of 3 different levels. It only goes on your leggings, and what it does, it allows the player to walk faster while sneaking, up to 75% of the normal speed at level 3. This is pretty cool. This is a pretty big change for the Minecraft mechanics, mainly being able to sneak faster. While it may not break a lot of things or change a lot of things fundamentally, it seems like a nice quality of life improvement for people that do tend to sneak a lot. Going off of something similar to that, we have the new darkness effect. This is a status effect that can be applied to the player. The player is given the darkness effect when a skulk shrieker is triggered, and it causes the player's camera to dim, thus making it very hard for the player to see. It lowers your gamma down to moody basically while you have this effect. Those are the main gameplay changes. However, there are a few other things I did want to talk about here. The first one being there are 7 new advancements. Most of these advancements are actually pretty easy, but hey, they're cool little advancements, and if you already have 100%, I guess you'll probably get these in just a matter of minutes. Moving on to something else with this update is the particles. There are some new particles for you to see. There is one called the skulk_soul. It is emitted by a skulk catalyst when it's activated by the skulk sensors. There is one called the shriek, and it is emitted by the skulk shriekers when activated by the skulk sensors. There are also 4 new music tracks with this update. There's one called Ancestry that only plays in the deep dark. There's one called Eerie, one called Firebugs, and one called Labyrinth, which only plays in the lush caves. All types of swamps, forests, jungles, and as well as the menu screen. Alright guys, and that does sum up the Minecraft Wilds update. That is everything new in the Minecraft Wilds update. If you did like this video, be sure to leave a like and be sure to subscribe for more Minecraft Wilds content coming at you really soon. Besides for that guys, thank you all for watching. Luigi Cal out.